The metallic clang of the prison doors echoed through the damp corridors of the Zetherian penal facility. Human eyes, accustomed to the chaos of war on distant battlefields, now stared blankly at the cold, grey walls of a cell that smelled of rust, mold, and despair. Captain Jace Anders, a veteran of countless interstellar campaigns, had fought the worst the galaxy could throw at Imrogue AI warships, merciless alien warlords, and bioengineered killing machines. Yet, nothing had prepared him for the brutality of Zetherian justice. He sat on the hard floor, his back against the wall, staring at the ceiling as if it could offer answers. The alien guards rarely spoke. They didn't need to. Their presence alone was enough to drain hope from the soul of any prisoner. Jace's body was battered, but the real wound was in his spirit. Death will come soon. He whispered to himself, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. Might as well make peace with it. He had been captured during a covert mission on the outer rim of Zetheria Prime, where he had been attempting to sabotage a weapons facility. The operation had gone wrong. He had fought valiantly, taking down dozens of alien soldiers with sheer grit and strategic brilliance. But in the end, superior numbers had won. Now, confined in this alien dungeon, survival seemed a cruel joke. Hours blurred into days. Meals were scarce, and water even scarcer. Every moment felt like a lifetime. The Zetherians had a cruel method of extracting information. They left their prisoners alive long enough to feel every ounce of despair. Feeding on fear like it was a delicacy, Jace's mind wandered back to Earth, to the green forests of his childhood, to the laughter of his little sister, and the camaraderie of his fellow soldiers. He thought of the victories he had fought for humanity, the worlds he had saved, and the civilians who would live because of his sacrifices. It was almost ironic. He had spent his life fighting for others, only to be discarded like trash in an alien prison. Then the sound came. It was subtle at first, a faint vibration through the metal floor. Jace's eyes snapped open. Guards weren't supposed to enter the inner cell blocks without a protocol. His instincts screamed danger. The vibrations grew louder. A shadow flickered at the far end of the corridor. Jace's hand instinctively reached for the shiv he had carved from a broken piece of metal days ago. But what appeared before him wasn't a Zetherian guard. She was tall, with the lithe, graceful form of a predator. Yet her movements had an elegance that was almost human. Her skin shimmered in hues of violet and silver, like liquid moonlight. Her eyes glowed a piercing azure, sharp and intelligent. In her hands was a weapon unlike anything Jace had seen, sleek, compact, and humming with barely contained energy. She moved with a precision that suggested lethal efficiency. Yet there was a purpose beyond mere violence in her stride. Jace froze. What are you?" he croaked. The alien tilted her head, a hint of a smile curving her lips. "Names are irrelevant," she said in a melodic tone, one that seemed to vibrate directly in his mind. "I am here to free you. Follow me." Jace blinked, disbelief momentarily clouding his judgment. "Free me. You're a bounty hunter, aren't you? They don't rescue prisoners." Her eyes narrowed slightly, scanning the hallways with a predator's focus. "I am no ordinary bounty hunter, and I do not rescue out of kindness. There is a price, but I have chosen you. Come." Without another word, she lunged forward, moving with a speed that made Jace realize he had mere seconds to follow. He scrambled to his feet, clutching his shiv. Alien guards burst into the corridor, alerted by the intrusion. The bounty hunter moved like a phantom, her weapon firing pulses of energy that incapacitated the guards silently and efficiently. Jace could only watch, half in awe, half in terror, as she dismantled their security with a precision that bordered on art. When they finally reached the outer gates, a fleet of hovercrafts awaited. The bounty hunter glanced back at Jace, her eyes scanning him as if weighing his worth. "You're coming with me," she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. Jace nodded, too stunned to respond with words. Together, they disappeared into the shadows of the night, leaving the imprisoned, certain death behind. The journey through the Zetherian skies was harrowing. Patrols and sentries swarmed every checkpoint. Yet the bounty hunter navigated with uncanny skill, slipping past detection as if the galaxy itself bent to her will. During the quiet moments, Jace finally spoke. "Why me? Why risk your life for a human?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she studied him, her eyes sharp, analyzing. "Because," she said finally, "you are different. You do not belong in a cage, and the galaxy owes you a debt." Jace shook his head. "I'm just a soldier. I've killed more aliens than I can count. Why would anyone save me?" The bounty hunter's eyes softened for the briefest moment. "Because you fight for something greater than yourself. Because you do not bend, even when broken. That is rare." Her words struck him more profoundly than any speech from a general or medal ever had. Here, in the darkness of the cosmos, an alien warrior had seen him not as a human, not as a prisoner, not as a tool but as something worth saving. They landed on a remote asteroid base, hidden deep in an asteroid belt where no Zetherian patrol would dare venture. It was crude, but it was safe. Jace collapsed onto a cot, exhaustion finally overtaking him. She approached, handing him a small vial of liquid. "Drink, you need your strength." He hesitated, then drank. The liquid burned in his throat, but revitalized him like nothing he had ever felt. As he recovered, he took a long, hard look at the bounty hunter. "What now?" he asked. She tilted her head. "Now we survive. Then we strike back." Jace's heart quickened. Strike back. After all he had endured, against the For the first time in weeks, hope ignited within him. In the weeks that followed, Jace trained under her guidance. He learned not just to fight, but to anticipate, to adapt, to think beyond human limits. She taught him alien combat techniques, weapon mastery, and strategies that defied his previous understanding of warfare. Despite her cold efficiency, there were moments when she laughed, melodic and completely alien, yet oddly comforting. During one late-night session, as they calibrated energy rifles on the base, Jace finally asked the question that had been gnawing at him. "Why save me, really? Not because I'm rare, but because it seems personal." She paused, her fingers brushing over the sleek surface of her weapon. "Because I've seen what the Zetherians do to the strong and the brave. I once lost someone I swore to protect. I will not let that happen again. Not to someone like you." The weight of her words sank in. This was more than a rescue mission. It was a rebellion, a statement against the cruelty of an empire that had no mercy. When the time came, they struck. Together, they orchestrated a series of surgical strikes against Zetherian installations, liberating prisoners, sabotaging weapon depots, and sending a clear message that humanity and those who were allied with it were not to be trifled with in the final confrontation. Jace faced the warlord responsible for his capture. The fight was brutal, a clash of human ingenuity against alien might. But Jace, honed by months of training and driven by the desire to protect life, triumphed. He watched as the warlord fell, the Empire's reach fractured, if only slightly. After the dust settled, Jace turned to the bounty hunter. Gratitude and something more respect. Admiration, maybe even awe shining in his eyes. "I owe you my life," he said quietly. She smiled, the first time it had felt truly human. "No, you owe yourself. I just gave you the chance to reclaim it." In that moment, under the twin suns of the asteroid belt, Jace realized something profound. Humanity was not defined by its weaknesses, its fear, or its mortality. Humanity was defined by its courage, its resilience, and its refusal to bow. Even when facing impossible odds, he had awaited death in an alien prison. Yet here he stood, alive, free, and ready to fight not just for himself, but for all those who had been cast aside. And beside him, a warrior from the stars had shown him the true power of alliance, trust, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. For Captain Jace Anders, the galaxy was no longer a place of despair. It was a canvas of possibility, waiting for those brave enough to seize it. And with a beautiful alien bounty hunter by his side, he knew that the impossible was only a matter of time. The stars stretched infinitely above, cold and indifferent, yet for the first time, they seemed to whisper a promise. Humanity was not just surviving. Humanity was rising. And this time, it would not be stopped. Asterisk.